matter of safety factor estimate. So it is very unfortunate that the magnitude we experienced is never experienced dimension and wasn't even imagined. Well, as I said, in 1755, November 1, similar magnitude earthquake hit the Lisbon, Spain, produced about 10-meter high tsunami, killed about 30,000 people. So there was a case similar. But it happened 400 years ago, almost. So, yes?
Could you please tell me the difference of this radiation level, indoor and outdoor? I assume this measurement is done outside.
Depends on the type of the particle, right? Neutrons would come in. Neutrinos pass through, but it doesn't do anything at all. Alpha particle, it's stopped with a thin paper. All right? So it depends on the type of radiation. The muons, for example, they pass through just about everything, so that my body, it's typically the number of radiations you can recognize would be about 1 per square centimeter per minute. And since I have extra dimensions of my body, I expect I'll be hit by radiation about 100 per minute. And still I'm alive and talking. So we don't know what kind of radiations are coming. Some of the radiation just concrete to totally block it. Right? Yes, please.
I have two questions. First, are you going to continue measurements in the coming weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
On that web page, it will be always on the web page. You can see it open.
Yeah. And the second one relates to this slide. For example, 200 millisieverts as a total dose of radiation, which is safe. How about the rate, like microsieverts per hour? Is there a specific dangerous threshold? Like some people were saying 1,000 microsieverts per hour is probably starting to be dangerous.
Well, there's one factor I know of, well, I roughly know of, was a very interesting thing. This happened, oh gosh, maybe 20, 30 years ago, involving bad people. Somewhere in the world, that there was a take-apart operation of the old nuclear power station, and naturally the concretes and steels and everything had to be properly stored in a safe area. However, some guy pretended that it has taken care of this in a very, very safe place, melted the steel, sold it into Taiwan. And this steel was used to build a very expensive apartment for the rich people. And the people lived in there over 20 years. Now, it was found, somebody checked the radiation, and amazingly, that the amount of radiation flux in the apartment, if given in one shot, would be easily causing death. But no one died in that apartment for 20 years. So this probably counts for the human refreshment cycle. The damaged cells would be disposed, like my hair, which is coming. So replaced with a fresh one which is not irradiated. So yes, time factor does exist. If it comes very slow, we have much easier time to cope with it. But then that is only one known example. The other one example was some guy tried to steal or sneak in with the steels into argon laboratory in Illinois, US. At the entrance, the radiation monitor went crazy, and finally the guy was caught. Well, it was done purposefully, maybe by the people who doesn't know anything about radiation. They were told it's dangerous, so that it has to be sealed and stored for a few thousand years, and they rather try to buy a bourbon or something. There are people, and you can't stop them. There's some percentage they exist.
So there is no agreement on a specific value in microsieverts per hour that's considered dangerous?
As I said, I'm not the radiation biologist. So all those numbers which I show is total, according to the total, but not over 20 years or anything. Generally, they came from the past event of accident, and generally it will be in one short shot, not for years. Over the years exposure, the Taiwan case was the only case I know. And the government was very secretive about it because it was used by the political issue. Went open about 10 years ago, I believe. Until then it was concealed. Well, by the way, that there should be something around. That thing, smoke detector, by the way, this guy, this is radioactive. The way is that radioactive material in it emits the alpha rays, which is very weak and safe. When the smoke comes, it will be stopped more. So reaching to the detector will be less, therefore the smoke, the detector knows that there's some smoke coming in. So dispose of those smoke detectors, you have to handle it like a radioactive material, so that we have those around. Yes, another question?
Yeah, I have a question. I know that you said you're not a radio
right.
specialist, but if anyone knows, I'm curious about the accumulative factor in this. So you mentioned, for example, cosmic radiation from the sky at sea level is 0.24 microsieverts a year. Well, I'm a million. So so someone who's 50 years old already has 12, right? If we add all this up and we go that we're double the rate now, what's kind of the long-term effect for like my kids or me? This is all like going to stay in our bodies, is this right? It's not going to dissipate by any food we eat or...
Well, you can be relieved that I'm 65 and alive and kicking. One of my friend's grandfather was 103.
So at double the rates, you're not worried about health effects. And well, I agree that scuba is totally safe. I'm not worried about that. But I'm just thinking about the effects of health on my children and, you know.
Every parents are concerned about their future. I agree. And it should be a very important concern, which I agree. But then, probably, the fumes out of the car, using up their oils, and eating lots of food additives, probably is far more dangerous. So, and also, by the way, the cleanness, safeness may not be a good idea in some cases, because that immunity to the disease, the Japanese became very particular about non-germ environment. And in some countries, Japanese are the only person who caught up their illness where nobody else gets sick in the world. Well, what can I say? Yes?
Is there any difference that the radioactive material in different kind of form, like particulate form, soluble in the water or something? Or
well, some goes into the water.
Like what kind
Look, as I said, even the banana have radioactiveness, right? Seawater have lots of radioactivity.
So when radioactive material leaked from the power plant, what kind of phone usually it is? In gaseous form or in?
Well,
in
my
liquid
understanding was about the Chernobyl accident. Yes, those radioactive gas